Let's bring him in. Sean Salisbury joining us here. Happy Friday, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. I guess we'll get into that Niner game in just a moment. I do want to ask you the one thing about last night and Phillip Rivers. What happened to him? Was that the Raiders' defense, or did Phillip Rivers – he was just off. I thought the Raiders were in his head all night.
Yeah, I think it was a combination. It's when those things say, here's a Hall of Fame guy who's leading the league in passing yardage, and I think we're getting to the point in Phillip's career, and he's never been a scrambling guy, but is as tough as there is in the pocket. But I also think we're getting to a point in Rivers' career, honestly, that if things aren't really, really clean, he can't drive through the throw. And you saw last night when they were up around his upper body, or he couldn't drive that front leg through the throw and fire that back right side, that you saw that the velocity on the ball had sailed on him a couple times. And you had an off night, he'll come back and throw for 400 next week, and they'll win. That's him. That's what he does, and he's still capable. He wouldn't be able to put up those yards. But I thought they had a hell of a game plan last night, Gunther did, and they put pressure with 4 in his face, and when they did pressure him, you don't want to let him sit back since he's not a move guy and see windows in zone and have a clean pocket. And they didn't give him much of a clean pocket. You know he's not going to escape, so force a few high throws, turn it into defensive scores, points off turnovers, and yet they were still in the football game. He's a hell of a competitor, but Phillip's at the point now in his career where a clean pocket matters so he can drive, and he didn't have as much velocity on the throws and a few floated. But I got news for you. Give him a clean pocket. He'll go 30 out of 42 on you and throw for 400 and beat you. So it looked like the Chargers were like, oh, this is going to be that run they go on. But thank goodness my Raiders stepped up, and now they're sitting in position, and Carr's playing efficient, really good football, and Josh Jacobs is a full-grown-ass man. This was a good performance by the Raiders, especially on defense last night.
Sean, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm just going through a hard grind of, I've been through a lot of surgeries and a lot of rehabs, and with knee replacement, it comes back fast, but the range of motion and the tearing of scar tissue, it's brutal. It's what I expected, and, the sciatic nerve, it affects that, but I tell you, I'm feeling, honestly, I can already feel in 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks last night, that the surgery, the rehab's coming along great, the range of motion, I'm ahead of it, and I'm rehabbing like a madman. I feel awesome. Every now and then you'll hit that scar tissue, and it'll drop you to your knees, but I can't wait because I'm going to be able to, in truth, I'm going to be able to do things. I play golf and I'm active, but I'm going to be able to do things that I haven't been able to do in 25 years, that literally where you can play basketball back-to-back days, or and I'm being serious about take hot yoga and not have to miss for a week because it's so swelled up. It's a pretty incredible. I wish I had done it a decade ago, but I'm going to make the most of it now. So I feel pretty damn good, man. I'm just worn out. I don't sleep much, and then 3:30 wake-up call, and I don't miss work. So the grind's tough, but you know what? Nobody's feeling sorry for me, and there's a lot of guys going through, especially when Veterans Day's come up. You're not going to hear me bitch about some knee replacement when some guys are doing more than I do without legs. So no problems here. Life's good, man.
Well, it helped us solve we weren't arguing, but a question that we had before you came on. We think, and maybe we're a bit biased out here, Sean, but we think the game of the week is going to be my Niners hosting the Seattle Seahawks, Monday Night Football. We were saying, listen, on the surface, more pressure on the Seahawks because they're behind. But at the same time, biggest game probably ever at Levi's Stadium. Who do you think is going to be feeling the most pressure come Monday night?
Well, I think that Seahawks, even though the team's changed, I think there's a little bit more, what is the word I'm looking for? Veteran moxie that says, this is old hat for us.
Sure.
You give with the quarterback,
Yep.
Just something I think, because I think the Seahawks deep down, when you just on a national basis, what people are thinking, well, Russ does this all the time. We're comfortable. We know what they're about. They're going to be hanging around, and no matter what happens in the game, he'll keep them in. I think that there's this, I don't know, it's a narrative, whether it's true or not, that goes around that the Seahawks will probably feel less pressure because now it's starting to mount. You're an undefeated team. Now we're no longer saying you're a year away. We're saying this defense is not only really good, it's real, it's Super Bowl real. The running game pounds you. Kyle Shanahan is using multiple looks and formations on the offensive side, lining up with two tights, doing things. Well, Jimmy's now starting to get into where, ironic, he's not a weakness in the offense, he's a strength. So they're doing a lot of things. They're making big plays. They're shutting you down. So I think as far as perception goes, that the still, even though they're in first place, there's not many people that honestly that I've talked to that don't think that the Seahawks can beat the 49ers just because who the Seahawks are. But I can tell you this, the 49ers play every bit as good. the quarterback's the MVP of the league right now in Seattle, but I'm not sure they're better at any other position when it comes to overall production by linebackers or linemen or secondary. I really love what the 49ers are doing. It is the game of the week, not kind of. It is the game of the week. Both teams are going to make the playoffs, and both teams are viable. And I really, really love the physicality and the multiple sets and what we're seeing from the 49ers. I cannot wait. And really it comes down to which one of those dudes under center is going to turn it over or is going to protect the ball. And is your defense going to not allow the big play to happen? And San Francisco, this will be their toughest test quarterback-wise because he's the best, most efficient runner at the position in the league. And he right now is throwing the ball. I mean, he's not throwing it to the other team, and when you got the ball in his hands late, you win. So this will be their toughest task of the year than dealing with a quarterback in Russ Wilson.
Sean, you get a chance to teach quarterbacks, and if you had your hands on Russell Wilson really early, it would almost probably take a game to see him or a couple games to see what he does that makes him so special that he improvs so many things. And he's got skills everywhere, but I don't know if anybody could even teach him that. When you see a guy that maybe does things you wouldn't want a quarterback to do but can do it, how would you handle that with a guy like you were trying to teach the position?
I wouldn't coach it out of him. I think we make a big mistake with that in youth sports, high school, NFL. We assume that there's only one way to do it, and you got to do it this way because my ego's in the way, and you're going to put your foot here and your arm here. And if that's the case in Matt Stafford, then we ought to just quit having him throw. He's having a monster year, throws three-quarter side. Can you imagine trying to change his throwing motion at 28 years old? What a failure you'd be as a teacher. That's just horrible. How I get to the equation at 2 + 2, and the final answer, if the conflict tells me to add 2 + 2, I've got another way to get to it. I'm okay with that as long as the answer is the same. So I would not coach that out of him. I think we do. My ego says I got to coach that. He's got to be perfect. Well, everybody's mechanics aren't like Brady because he doesn't have the skill set that Russ Wilson has. So what he lacks in skill set when it comes to speed and all that, he more than makes up for mechanics. Now, Russ, for me, there's some things on Russ I wouldn't even tell anybody to teach. You watch his head, and Greg Cosell and I were discussing this on my show. He dips his head and at times stares at the pass rush. And at no time would I ever teach a quarterback that you feel the rush, see the coverage. But he's got this incredible ability, and Greg pointed it out too yesterday, and you watch his head from behind, his head will dip down and you'll see the pass rush, and then he's got the urgency to get it back up and then find windows to throw to. At no time would you tell a quarterback to do that. So he gets to pockets and he slides. He's throwing better out of the pocket. His anticipation's great. And there's a believability in himself that there's nothing he can't do. And so for me, it's like Tiger Woods. Guys like that. Dude, I'm your swing coach, but really, what am I going to say? I'm gonna make sure within a finite, okay, that small toe on your front foot, I need to get it a little bit here, and your balance and base in the pocket. I'd like to have you a little shorter stride. Little things. I'm not making wholesale change. Why would I fix, somebody's like Jeff Bagwell's big old wide stance as a Hall of Famer when he's hitting 500 home runs by saying, hey, man, could we tighten up your stance a little bit and then screw up a Hall of Famer's career because I wanted to overcoach him? Nah, leave Russ Wilson alone, and he seems to be doing a good job of taking whatever weakness it is on the team or his that year and covering it with a strength. So, nope, I'm not overcoaching him, and I sure as hell, I'm not coaching great out of Lamar Jackson. I'm not coaching great out of Pat Mahomes. Why would I? I'm polishing the greatness and trying to hide the weakness, whatever that is. That would be my job as a coach and how I'd approach any quarterback I had, including Russ Wilson.
Speaking of, so again, you work with quarterbacks. Speaking of not coaching stuff out of guys, you look at how the positions change, and I'll pick 3 guys out because we you know what you have in Patrick Mahomes. We just spent a lot of time on Russell Wilson, 2 guys that are really making that quarterback position so much more dynamic. Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson. You can go into next year with one, and you can work directly with one. Who are you taking?
Well, Watson. Okay. I don't even have to hesitate with that. Okay. He's championship DNA. Now, if you're asking me how I feel, and some people will take it as a slight to the other 2. Lamar's still got a long way to go from being. If I said, Lamar, you're not allowed to run anymore, dude. You got to throw from the pocket, and that's going to be. We're going to turn that into your biggest strength. He'll work on it and get better. He's gotten better at it already, but part of his great strength is that he's so two-dimensional. You can't take one away because he kills you with the other. So you're a little more passive-aggressive, and he's beating you with both. Love him. Right now, he's better than Darnold, better than Allen, better than Mayfield, better than Rosen. He's the best one of the class right now. And right now, it's not close with the way he's playing. Now, is he the best pure thrower? No. But he's winning, and his team's responding. With Prescott, I've said he's the most underappreciated good quarterback in the league. Well, he doesn't play well against good teams, or look at it, because he doesn't throw up 400 on you on a regular basis, 235, 240 efficient. I'm a big fan. I'm going to tell you what, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be hanging around, even though they haven't beat anybody good. They're loaded, and Dak Prescott is a good player. But we're talking about a different cat when we're talking about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a weakness. His only weakness, I guess, if there is one, and he's getting better at it, is the hero syndrome that all great players, Favre, Rodgers, have. They think they can make every friggin' play on the planet, and sometimes you throw it to the other dude, and you cost the net, or you hold it too long in the pocket and you lay it down. But it's the same thing with Aaron Judge. Are you going to tell Aaron Judge to choke up on the bat handle and hit me singles? No, dude, you're going to strike out 180 times a year, but you're going to hit 50 and drive in $130 and be an MVP candidate. You're a run producer. I'll take it. So I'm going to take it. And it's the same thing, with that. I'm not going to take away what he does best. So Watson, he may try to do too much once in a while, but mechanically he's getting more sound. Feet are as good as it gets. His elusiveness in the pocket's the best in the league right now. I said Russ the best runner, but elusiveness, we can't bring him down. He's getting stronger. He can make every throw. He's accurate. Bill's calling plays to accentuate what he does well. And of all the guys you mentioned, his DNA, as far as pressure DNA, he's as good as anybody in the league right now. So, we're at the point now when you get to 5 or 6 quarterbacks, if you haven't mentioned Watson's name, then you're not watching the same game I'm watching.
Sean, to your point, is there a tougher play to make for a young, dynamic quarterback than before crunch time in the fourth quarter, any time in the first 3.5 quarters, 3rd and 8, rolling out right, 4 guys in front of you, throwing the ball out of bounds? Is there a tougher play for a young, dynamic quarterback than just to simply do that and not force it?
No, it's the best play in football sometimes, Dave.
Yeah.
I say it to mine all the time. I said, there's 2 things I need you to do. We can say that, hey, don't take sacks in the red zone, all those things that are obvious. But sometimes the best play in football is to punt. And sometimes, and you're exactly right, to tell a special player like Mahomes or Watson, these guys that just are different. The mere mortals don't really, we don't even think about trying to make a throw, and they think about trying to make a touchdown under that. Rodgers is the same way. He's not young, but do it. Hey, man, just throw the ball out of bounds. Because we got second down, or even if it's third down, you throw it over, we'll punt, we'll get another shot. The problem is they all think they can, and every now and then they're going to make the throw that Rodgers made against the Cowboys. Remember, 2 years ago in the playoff game? Just like, what? And or Watson, yes. But it is every now and again. Sometimes the biggest cheer you'll get in a film room, or the biggest compliment that I've gotten in the past, is in the red zone, rolling out, throwing, you're up 3, and you want to make a play, and the guy, maybe you spit it in there, but there's 2 dudes, you can make a great throw. You throw it out of the back of the end zone or out of bounds to your mom in the 7th row, 8th row, 10th row, 12th row, and the coach says, that's how you're supposed to play. That's the best play you made all day. Now you say, well, was it really? And you think, now I get it. We kicked the field goal. We're up 6. Now they got to score a touchdown. They kick a field goal on their last drive. We win. Those little things that come, and it'll happen about 6 or 8 times a game. It's not the 70 other plays. It's the 6 or 8 times a game when it's something I can't teach and we didn't plan for. What do you do with the ball in your hand? Do you throw it away? Do you get it on a check down for 2 yards where we never go broke taking a profit? Or do you throw the ball to the other team 3 times and crush my team, and that's 17 points off turnovers? Sometimes those 8 plays, and it usually comes down to what do you do when it's not like it's supposed to be? That will determine whether we win or lose a game, or quite frankly, a championship.
Sean, is it simple for Cam Newton to get healthy and he'll be the same guy, or is there a bigger issue with him?
Oh, I think that, here's the thing. We're going through, guys, have we seen a bigger freak show in the league when it comes to talent, size? I mean, these guys really, then they say he's 230. Dude's an M&M away from 265. Don't kid yourself. This is an outside linebacker that can throw the ball a country mile. It's got a rocket arm that can run, it's great speed and physical. Come on, the guy's a freak. Well, that being said, I always wonder, how do we coach the freak out of him? We talked about that. You asked me what I do with Russ Wilson. So I do believe that his days are numbered in Carolina, especially if Kyle Allen keeps winning. You're going to get him cheaper. His body's beat up. I think he's mentally beat up a little bit because of the expectations and what's gone on. He's never been an efficient passer consistently. You guys go, when you're done with this during the break, pull up his completion percentage year by year. Last year it was up, but on a consistent basis, he hovers around 59, 50, 60. He's not in the 65, so he's never going to be that guy that methodically beats you. He's going to spectacularly beat you, and then he's going to kill you one Saturday or Sunday because he turns the ball over and tries to run somebody over and hurts his hip and is out 3 weeks. That's him. So you're thinking at the next level, is it deeper? Are we going to ask with a 30-year-old quarterback, whatever he is, when he goes to some other team, you just be a pocket guy? Well, he's not overly efficient enough to complete 70% from. That's never been his game. And I know you have to evolve. Great players do evolve. But what if you say, well, keep running, and then he keeps in? I don't know if he has the wherewithal when he gets out on the edge like some of us to slide. I think he realizes, I'm a bigger dude than you are. I'm taking your ass on. So you got to love when he's about that, but you also got to say, dude, I need you on the field. So, and then look at Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's not as good as Cam Newton, but he's more efficient with it. Ball comes out a little quicker at times. He doesn't have a big old wind-up. He's not as talented, but what North Turner wants to do, get the running back involved, throw some slants, be efficient. Because Cam's a better all-around player. He'll start for somebody next year. But if you're looking for just a pocket guy, I don't know if he's capable of just wanting to be that guy for him mentally. So I think it goes bigger. And the question is, guys, how much more can he take of getting his ass kicked and still be successful? And we know this, and whether you love him or not, he's got a little bit of powder in him. When he's a front runner, when things are going good, Cam's a smiling all the time. When things are going bad, he's not the best at dealing with adversity and that kind of stuff, but he's such a specimen, you can't take your eyes off him when it comes to a football player. But I don't know if he's still got championship in him anymore. It's going to depend on where he goes, like a Chicago or somewhere else. But I'm intrigued with his skill set. I just don't know if he can change at this point in his career because of what he's been and so dynamic of what got him there in the first place.
A crisp Saturday afternoon in November. SEC football, 12:30, 2:30 Central, LSU, Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Ed Orgeron, Nick Saban, number 2 versus number 3. Doesn't get any better than that in college football. Sean Salisbury.
No, it doesn't. Real quick, guys. My Trojans play Arizona State at the same time this Saturday, and I'm not watching my alma mater. I'm taping the game.
Right.
That's in. Most of us would watch our team. No, I'm watching it. Real quick, I'm going to tell you why LSU's got a chance for the first time, and you guys know this. You watch it. For the first time in how long can LSU, if they're down 21-3, you're thinking, last year I was in Baton Rouge. They got their ass kicked. They had no shot to come back when they got down. For the first time, you're saying, let's say they get down 21-3 in the first quarter. Joe Burrow and this offense, they can throw themselves back into it. We never get to say that. They win 17-14. They're not really aggressive. They play to a close game. It's different this year. The substance is different. This is different. Now, I don't know if they're going to go win. I'm picking them to win. But in Tuscaloosa, we finally got it where the guy waltzing into the building may very well be at quarterback better than the guy that's in the building. That's how good Joe Burrow's been, and they've been aggressive. I actually think this is going to live up to the offensive hype. Both offenses are better than both defenses. Yeah, I think it's going to be a hell of a football game. The winner of this wins the national title. I'm taking LSU 34-31 in that building to finally have them believing in it, and they finally got more swagger, but the swagger matches the substance. But you better hit Tua, because if not, he is going to kill you, and Nick Saban is Nick Saban. I'll take LSU in this one. Maybe it's just because I'm feeling a little better about him, but I wouldn't take Nick Saban's team's going to be ready to play. I promise you that.
Well, my Florida State Seminoles are playing Boston College at 9 a.m., and I'm still DVRing it. So
I don't. Well, that's for other reasons. You don't want to throw up in your mouth, brother. I get it.
Exactly.
That's Sean Salisbury each and every Friday, buddy. Appreciate you. Appreciate your recovery, and we'll talk to you next week.
The Drive.